Really click record. Uh,
There we
Um,
go.
I'm going to start by asking because I mean, on paper, as a kind of script, this could read as being slightly unusual, and I just wondered what it was that kind of convinced you both. This project could be strange at times, but also be brilliant. Because what with it being a kind of director's debut as well, you don't have that kind of back catalogue of films either to go on. So I wondered what it was that made you both go, "All right, do you know what? This is not only is this going to work, but this is going to be really bloody good."
Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think that with so many of these things, it's an instinct thing. As you said, the script is pretty odd, some quite mad sequences, and it's reaching for something quite obscure. And I think that it's very dependent on who's helming that. And when you meet someone like Luna and you're aware of, and it's just very striking how this is a human being that's got a lot to say, and she might say it in a kind of absurd way and say it in a way that is not very familiar, and could be quite brave and bold. And yeah, it was Luna, basically encountering Luna and realizing that this is a filmmaker that and a person that is very rare. And so to be kind of along that journey and to watch her make her first feature film and contribute to that was what drew me in. And then after we did a chemistry test together, and it's very clear kind of the level of talent that Saura was wielding. So it was pretty obvious. Well, I say obvious. It felt like something was interesting going on over there.
Yeah, for me, it was very interesting as well. I like unusual things. And to be honest, I'm just going to echo what you said. It was instinct. It was a lot of, I mean, for me, it's the people involved, and I'm also very fresh in the business. So what I tend to go off is people. And like, if a script has something that draws me in, it's like symbols like tend to like pop out at me, and then I meet people and it's you feel it, it's a chemistry, so that was all there. And also an extra layer for me was the grief. I had just lost my grandmother the year before, and I was very early on in my stages of grieving her, and also didn't know what grief was. And then I started to get fed this information from Luna, because I didn't get the script, but I started to have conversations with her and be fed things about how she wanted to tell the story. That helped me, to be honest, as well, like go on this journey. So it had a personal element to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a striking debut for her. I mean, because I mean, there are like we sort of unusual. I mean, the word not unusual, but quite quirky and very creative sequences. I mean, such as when your characters are kind of fighting or when they're kind of screaming. When you do scenes like that as actors, I always imagine you're quite vulnerable in that moment. It's quite exposing to kind of lose yourself in that way. Does it make it even more important to trust your filmmaker when when you're creating sequences of that nature?
Trust is the spine of the process, really. Like you've got to trust every head of department, but especially, yeah, from the acting perspective, you've got to trust your scene partner and the director, because they're going to be putting it together, and you've got to feel like you can commit to it in a way that doesn't feel like you're going to make a fool of yourself. Um, and yeah, the trust in the director is imperative, but I'd say it's no more. It's a different kind of trust, having the trust in the director as opposed to having the trust with your scene
True.
partner.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's there's got to be a whole lot of trust for everyone. It's got to be a ubiquitous thing for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something I want to pick up on where you said like the vulnerability. Well, there's a vulnerability basically when you do these scenes, especially the scenes in this film. And you're exploring something. Crossing my eye. You're exploring something with people, and doing it with Joe throughout the process, we built a working relationship that was wonderful, and it was really playful on my side, and it was just like a pleasure. And then you were also in the room doing that, aware that there's cameras and aware that there's other people watching, and the director and Luna, kind of, you're hopefully like getting what she wants. out of that, as well as also kind of going on the journey yourself. So it's, yeah, there's lots of things happening, but trust is hopefully there throughout.
Because I know people, I mean, you often hear sort of actors say that they get to kind of play on set and play with other actors, but that's really what it felt like here. It felt like two actors really playing. I mean, obviously, we're speaking about trust, and you, gosh, you have to trust each other so much too. But I wondered if you could speak a bit about establishing the bond between you both. And also, if it feels like after sharing an experience like this, do you think you're always going to have this quite unique, special connection off the back of making Hoard together?
That's the most miraculous and special thing about making films or making anything really. Personally, I love going into an environment where I don't particularly know anyone or know what's going to happen, and you go into a place which is uncomfortable and you hopefully feel useful and challenged, and at the end of that experience you might have made a friend or two or three or whatever, but something exists that wasn't there before. It's a little lofty, but that's the most wonderful thing about it. And yeah, of course, like we shared an experience together on this film, and we'll go on to share different experiences with different people if we're still lucky enough to work, and these experiences mold you, and they change you, and they teach you, and they can, damage you a bit sometimes too. And it's like life. But you're in this kind of controlled chaos environment on a film set, and everyone is there trying to make something and serve something kind of greater than themselves. I'm getting super
No,
lofty.
it's really good laughter.
Shut up.
It's really no, it's should we talk about Michael and Maria making that?
Michael and Maria.
Michael and Maria.
We hung out a bit. Yeah. We hung out a little bit.
I think it was also like Luna who managed to create a space where, when we weren't acting, it was behind the scenes, it felt like home, and it was it was kind of like, for me particularly, because I was staying in accent the whole time. As soon as I went in the car in the morning and I got to set, I was there, and everything was part and parcel of it. And eating lunch together, watching people eat together, going to the toilet, coming back, filming, like all of it is, it's all part of the experience. And the more time you spend around people and go on this mad journey, then of course you're going to develop this relationship that then is on screen. But it is the magic of it. It's what I love most. Maybe not most, but it's one of the things I love most. It's meeting people, and it's having experiences and kind of getting to know people in different lights, and getting to step into different shoes and become different people together.
Yeah, it's true, because I mean, we talk about those connections. I mean, I'm old enough now to go to school reunions. I'm 35, but when I went met with all my old school friends, it was always me and the kind of my drama students, the ones that we did drama together in our A levels, where we had a much closer bond because we'd shared something very different. Having sort of acted together and stuff. So it is true. It's such an amazing part of this industry. But I was going to ask about the kind of bringing so much history to these characters, because they've both been through so much at such young, impressionable ages, both of your characters in this. But their trauma and their past, I don't think it really defines them, but it is inside there. I wondered if it was a kind of challenge to subtly bring out that trauma and all the kind of the complexities of their kind of youth without having it take over and be a kind of caricature, if that makes sense.
That's a lovely observation, and that's very much a testament to the writing that Luna provided us with. I think in life anyway, like it's easy to become a victim of one circumstance or blame whatever is behind you for the reason that you're experiencing the things that you're experiencing in the present, or be fearful of the future. And I think that these characters, they're not written in a way that is caricature, as you say. Yes, but they both grow up in the foster system. However, whatever could be considered a stereotypical portrayal of that is avoided at all costs through Luna's narrative. They are people. Yes, that's part of their background. And I don't think it was anything that was, I don't know, consciously something that I was not trying to play. It's just that's part of their story, but we find them here now. So it wasn't a conscious thing. It was in the writing, and also in the collaborating with your scene partner. You know, you're not kind of there talking about, God, it wasn't it tough what we've been through together, because that would be too arch. It's like they notice this familiar pheromone in each other, this familiar experience, and then through that, through the rest of the film, they kind of navigate what that means to each other, to have that shared experience, and how harrowing it must have been for both of them. And from Michael's perspective, how difficult it is to express those feelings.
I think one of the important things for me playing Maria was that I didn't delve too much into like, or worrying, should I say, about what was being shown, if enough, you know, of the weight of her past was being shown. I think one of the magic things about cinema is that you can leave moments quite wide open and things will emerge for themselves. The viewer will see things. And that's, you know, that takes a whole team. It takes a cinematographer, it takes a director, it takes an actor, it takes people people who have, like, the room itself, everything, every little part of the film gives you the vocabulary as a viewer to kind of then make the story in your mind. And a lot of the wonderful things about, I think, Hoard and Luna is that she kind of feeds you them in like breadcrumbs. It's the trail of it. You know, she doesn't like shove it down your throat, and it's definitely not on the nose. It's detailed and it's complex like life. And you know, people in circumstances I don't tend to think worry too much about those like it just kind of unravels. And one of the wonderful things is also the childishness of the characters and them like finding really beautiful moments in their day-to-day.
So I was going to ask you, just sort of more for you, Joseph, I suppose, because you often speak to sort of actors and stuff when they step into kind of quite popular kind of franchises, like maybe the Marvel universe, or kind of in your instance, obviously like a huge series like Stranger Things, and you often hear people speak about the kind of nerves and pressures of stepping into something that's already got such an established fan base. But I wanted to know conversely, because even though you're incredibly proud of a role in a project like Stranger Things and you share it with fans constantly, is there more of a sense of ownership and personal connection to a project like Hoard? And can that in some ways make it even harder to put out and share with the world? Because you're sort of, we used the word vulnerable earlier, but I'm just really interested in the kind of, in sharing projects like Hoard and the differences, I suppose, to sharing something that already has quite a big fan base.
That's a very interesting question. I guess there's virtue in both of them. I think you're aware when you're going on to something where, frankly, there's more money involved of the sense of risk financially, and the fact that people want to get it right. And I think that with more money there's less of a desire to take a risk because they want to get a return for their investment. So that's understandable. And I think that people are nervous because you're aware that there's going to be more eyes on it, to use a kind of crass term. Is it more stressful being involved in something as small as this? No, I think that it's lovely having the ownership, as you pointed out, because you can really, you've just got to go for it. You know, you don't know if anyone's going to watch it. There's a sense of, this is our thing. There's far less cooks in the kitchen. So it's a wonderful kind of playground to be in, with a very few amount of collaborators. And in this circumstance, it was myself, Luna, Saura, and a whole other cast that were wonderful. But in our kind of little group, it was I felt a tremendous ownership, and that did come with its own set of pressures. But both big stuff, like big money stuff, and small money, like, well, big. What's a better way to phrase it? Big time
Big
stuff.
time, big
Big time and small time. Yeah, just kind of more franchisey stuff. Yeah, it's nerve-wracking and more people are kind of worried about it. But like with smaller stuff like this, like, it's still a business, and we definitely want people to see it, obviously. So I think that, but you can't look at them any differently personally. Like, you've got to bring your vulnerability and your commitment to both strands in equal measure. But I guess there's just the The only difference is the quality of the catering.
That's good. Yeah, well, I actually went on set for Stranger Things, and I can confirm it was quite good food, actually.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
But thank you so much, guys, for speaking to me today. And like you mentioned about people wanting to see this film, I think it's such a great film, and hopefully, it's playing festivals and getting good reviews. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of bums on seats when it comes out, and I think they'll enjoy it as much as I did as well. So yeah, really do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys!
Hey, you guys!